Hello everybody and welcome back to Canned Goods, a show all about the movies that we'll never see. Quentin Tarantino, an auteur, a provocateur, a visionary. Love him or hate him, he has made some of the most iconic and quotable movies of all time. And as such an iconic director, he has in the past talked about many of his ideas for movies that never came to fruition, like Modesty Blasé, a remake of Less Than Zero, and even a Luke Cage movie, just to name a few. But the movie we're talking about today is by far his most Tarantino-y idea. A movie that acted as a prequel and even a sequel to Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs. So today, we're going to break down the development and cancellation of the Pulp Fiction Reservoir Dogs crossover, Double V Vega. The year was 1994. Pulp Fiction, the second film by Quentin Tarantino, is released to rave reviews, with the general consensus being that it was even better than his first movie, Reservoir Dogs. At some point in the aftermath of the film's release, Tarantino started talking about how he really wanted to go and have another crack at writing for John Travolta's character Vincent Vega and Michael Madsen's character Vic Vega, aka Mr. Blonde, from Reservoir Dogs. Now, in Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs respectively, these two characters do have the same last name, but this comment confirmed the theory that these two characters were, in fact, related. And from here, we begin the journey of conflicting stories of if the script was done and what the movie was even about. And as the 90s rolled into the 2000s, we wouldn't really hear that much about the movie due to Tarantino picking up other projects, and what we did hear were just small snippets that either reiterated what everybody already knew or already assumed, like the fact that it would be a prequel, and the movie had the working title of The Vega Brothers. Our first substantial info dump on the film came from an inside source who told The Sun UK in 2002, quote, "Expect the charm to come from Travolta and the crazy stuff to come from Madsen. It will follow the pair's exploits around a club they own set in the late 80s. There's also an argument between the brothers over a woman. In true Tarantino fashion, it will be a film full of twists, plenty of action, and with gangsters aplenty." Tarantino hopes to complete writing The Vega Brothers early next year so he can start shooting it in the summer. The next summer came and went, and there was no shoot. Though everybody was hopeful, it was common knowledge at that point that Tarantino was hard at work on Kill Bill, so everybody figured that the movie would start shooting once everything with Kill Bill was finished. This educated guess seemed to be validated in 2004, when in an interview with Rolling Stone, Tarantino brought up the project again, and he said, quote, "It's a sequel to both Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs. Actually, it's a sequel and a prequel. It's the Vega Brothers, played by Michael Madsen and John Travolta. I've been trying to do it for years, and the more time I take, the older these two guys get. But I've come up with an idea that won't matter how much they age. The magic of movies. It's going to be great. It'll be funny, and these guys are so great, alright? They're going to be like two oversized mob men fighting over the last bowl of pasta. That we can't go wrong. It's just going to be John and Michael, and I hope to make this my next movie. We're laying down the pipework for it now." He also apparently stated that he wanted to challenge himself, wanting to make a war movie, an action movie, and a sequel. Though it is important to note that after doing some digging, I couldn't find the original interview, but all this information lines up with what we know. The war movie became Inglourious Bastards, and we know that he considered at least one other sequel also to Pulp Fiction, where we follow Jules, quote, "just out walking the earth and what happens then." Around the time of this interview, conflicting reports started to emerge that Tarantino actually didn't have a concrete story in mind, and for a few years everything seemed to be going back and forth and up in the air. No one knew what was going on with this movie. That was until 2006, when Michael Madsen, Mr. Blonde himself, opened up about the project, stating, quote, "Well, first he said he would do it. Then he said he wasn't going to do it. Then he called me and said, you know, I figured out a way to do it. It can't be a prequel because you and John don't look the same. It wouldn't make sense as a sequel because you're both dead. And he gave me an idea that would be really outrageous. That John and I would be the twin brothers of Vic and Vincent. We come from Amsterdam to LA to avenge the death of our brothers. I think that's pretty interesting. For me, I'd love to do it." The whole twin brothers angle Michael Madsen mentioned seems to line up with the idea of Tarantino manufacturing something to sidestep everybody getting older. So at this point, it seemed like there was, at the very least, some sort of game plan in play. So after all this hullabaloo, all this back and forth, why did it get canned? In April of 2007, on the Opie and Anthony radio show, the project came up, and Tarantino revealed his original plans for the movie.
I also have to ask you, because you're here all kinds of things I couldn't find on the internet about this. The Vega Brothers. There was this rumor that you were going to put out the movie The Vega Brothers about Michael Madsen and John Travolta's characters in some way, shape, or form. How it would be done is, beyond me, but is there any truth to that?
Well, I gotta say, it's looking unlikely now.
Yeah.
All right.
They were supposed to be brothers?
Yeah.
I never connected that. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we never say it.
Right.
Yeah,
They both have the same last name. One's Vincent, one's Vic.
Could tell they were probably raised by the same people.
Yeah. And I actually even had a title for it. It was called Double V Vega.
Double V Vega.
And it actually would have taken place during the time that Vincent was in Amsterdam, when he was running one of Marcellus's clubs in Amsterdam, and Vic goes to visit him. When Vic would be Michael Madsen, and we're all a little older now.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And since they both died, it would have to be a prequel.
Yeah.
Then I actually came up with a way I could have done it, even with them being older and dead, and I'll be revealing it right now for the first time, because I probably won't do it.
Okay.
They all had older brothers, and I would have that both of their brothers got together because of the two guys died, and they wanted revenge or something like that.
Oh, okay.
But then now they're still too old for that.
And on that note, what started as a movie that looked like a sure thing became nothing more than a fun trivia factoid that pops up every time a new Tarantino movie comes out. From everything we have to go off of, I'm of two minds. Part of me feels like Tarantino could have pumped out an absolute classic and retroactively made Double V Vega a great end cap to a trilogy, but the other half of me thinks that seeing another revenge story, especially if the movie followed Kill Bill, would have felt a little samey. But it is a movie that I would have at the very least been interested to see. But that's the story of Double V Vega, and the end of yet another episode of Canned Goods. So until next time, thank you so much for watching, have a beautiful day, and stay Hemmers.